Hello everyone and welcome to the series of pre-workshop webinars. This one is going to be devoted to teaching writing and, to be more precise, OGE and EGE type of writing. My name is Marina and I've been a practicing teacher working with students for more than 17 years already, and I am a certified expert, EGE and OGE expert. So today we are going to analyze the exam paper tasks, the writing part of those. We will take a look at the structure of the personal letter and an opinion essay, which is required by the state exams. We will speak about how to teach writing in an exam class, and we will discuss the strategies that students should follow. That means those strategies which are to be taught by teachers as well. So let's start with the structure of the writing tasks for OGE and EGE exams. OGE exam contains only one task, which is about writing, and that is a personal letter writing. EGE exam includes two tasks, that is personal letter writing and an opinion essay writing. Let's start with the personal letter. Both OGE and EGE exams include the type of task, but there are some differences. So if the 9th graders have to answer 3 questions and they don't have to ask the questions, the 11th graders will have to ask 3 questions as well. And they are the questions on some specified topic. But that is something which our students should bear in their minds. As for the size of the personal letter, according to the task for the 9th graders, the letter should be 120 words long, and in EGE type of exam, the letter is about 140 words long. But the experts, actually that is the very first thing that experts do when they start assessing the paper. They start with counting the words, and there is a rule of 10%. That means that if a letter contains 90 words, it is okay, it's not a problem. But if there are even like 89 words, unfortunately, the letter will not be assessed. As for the maximum limits, you see that for the 9th graders it is 132 words. That means that even if there are 133 words, let's say, the expert will count only 120 and will assess only 120 words. That means that the student will get some points, but of course not the maximum one. Not the maximum score. For the 11th graders, the maximum limit is 154 words. Again, even if there is one word more than that, the expert will assess only 140 words. So these are the things which, again, a teacher needs to teach their students to do. To count the words correctly. So let's take a look at the structure of the personal letter and some things which are kind of a must and which must be included according to the checklist which the experts have. So you see that the personal letter starts with the address, usually a short form of the address, that is city and country, and the date. It is usually the date of the exam. Then a student starts with the greeting, and it's really important to include the name of the pen friend, because a phrase "dear friend" will be considered to be a logical inaccuracy. So that will mean that the student hasn't read the task properly and hasn't found the name of the pen pal there. So that's really important to do. So two phrases which follow the greeting are also mandatory, and those are thanking for the previous letter and reference to the previous contacts. They are two different sentences, and as for the reference to the previous contacts, it's really important to include either the word again, you see it, this word is underlined twice, or the word always. So these words are considered to be the words that will definitely show, or will definitely mean that there were some other letters that the student had got before he got this particular, he or she got this particular letter. So that's why it's really important not to write "it was nice to hear from you," but it was nice to hear from you again. As for the phrases, sorry for not writing, I was busy with my project there. They can be used by a student, but they are not included into the experts checklist. That's why it's up to the student to decide whether to write them or not. Some students would write something about preparing for their exams and helping parents and etc. So you see, they're not obligatory. That's why it's up to the student to decide. So the next two paragraphs are actually main body paragraphs, and the first main body paragraph includes answers to the questions. It's really important to answer all those questions. It is not necessary to include them, to answer them in that order they are given in the task. So it's okay if the student starts with question number 3, for example, and then number 2, number 1, but it's really important that the ideas are logically connected, and that all the answers are there. So the next paragraph, and again that is the second paragraph of the main body, that is asking questions, and this paragraph is a must for the 11th graders. As for the 9th graders, they can include this paragraph as well, and they are welcome to ask actually any questions they wish, because this part is not included into the task, but students should be really careful about asking questions, because usually it is something they have a lot of problems with in terms of grammar. So for the 11th graders, it's really important to have that bridge between answering the questions and asking the questions, because usually the topic students need to ask the questions is absolutely different from those things they were speaking, or they are speaking in the first paragraph of the main body. So that's why such bridges like "by the way," yeah, is the right thing to use there. What we see next here, ending the letter. Well, actually, it's not really about the ending the letter, but a student needs to show the hope for further contacts. So such phrases like "write back soon," "I'm looking forward to hearing from you soon," "keep in touch," they are okay, and they can be included into the personal letter. Signing off those phrases like "best wishes," "yours," and "signature," which is a personal name without a surname and without any punctuation marks. So as for the address, you see two ways of writing the address are highlighted green here, and they are accepted at the exam. So if a student writes the address on separate lines, then no punctuation marks should be used. Moscow, Russia, on separate lines. If a student writes the address on the same line, then city should be separated with a comma, yeah, from the country. Moscow, comma, Russia. That's the way. So as for the date, actually all the ways of writing the date are accepted. I mean, American, British, doesn't matter, using just numbers, using words instead of the month. Yeah, everything is accepted. But the difference is in counting the words. So you see that if a month is written with a word, then we need to count the date, the month, and the year separately, and that makes 3 words in total. If we use slashes or dots and no words, just numbers, then we count the date as 1 word. So you can see that on your screens on this slide. Okay, so as for the last part, the final part of the letter, again, it's really important to include the hope for further contacts, and we need to remember that that is informal style, and that means that such words sincerely are not to be used, or the surname is not to be included. And again, students shouldn't use any punctuation marks after the after their first name. So that would be yours, comma, Kate. No punctuation marks. Love, comma, Peter. No punctuation marks. And again, it is absolutely okay to use phrases like looking forward to hearing from you soon, as it belongs to the informal style. So now let's take a look at the opinion essay task. Students are given 2 topics for essays, and they can choose only one to write an essay, but actually some of the students managed to write 2 essays within the set period of time, and that is approximately 60 minutes. And in this case, the expert will actually assess both, and if the first essay, for example, is of 12 points worth, and the second one is 10 points worth, so the 12 points will be added to the total score here. So in this case, a student is to write an opinion essay which is 200 to 150 words long according to the task, and there is a plan, and students should stick to that plan and include all the necessary information. Now we're going to speak about the details that can be should be included into the paragraphs of the opinion essay, again in terms of the Russian national exam. We have the topic for the essay, and that is an early choice of a career path is the key to success. And the very first in the very first paragraph, a student should make an introduction, and it's not just general words, but a student is supposed to state the problem, paraphrasing the given statement. Stating the problem usually means that 2 opposing opinions are to be shown in the very first paragraph, and paraphrasing in terms of the Russian national exam means that a student can paraphrase 2 words, or a student can use one different grammar structure, and in this case, of course the idea should remain the same, and in this case the statement will be accepted as paraphrased. So you see that in this very paragraph that we have, the problem is stated as some people claim, others argue, and the statement is paraphrased, so it is there. An early choice of a profession can lead to success, and the original statement is an early choice of a career path is the key to success. So we see that a career path is paraphrased with the profession that can lead, yeah, and key to success, yeah, that is actually can lead to success. So the structure, the different grammar structure is used, the different words are used, and the idea remains the same. So that's why this paragraph is accepted. So that's again the idea about what paraphrasing is in terms of EGE. Of course, the idea should remain unchanged, and if a student paraphrases more than 2 words, it is absolutely okay. If a student paraphrases several words and changes a grammar structure, it is okay if the idea remains unchanged. So let's take a look at the ways students paraphrase some of the statements and what we can accept as a paraphrased statement and what is not accepted. So the topic here is friendship is the greatest gift in life. And take a look at the first sentence, and you see that it is in green. That means that we accept it. So we need to find the part of the sentence where this paraphrasing is included. And here we see, friendship is the most valuable present one gets in life. And we see that the greatest is changed into the most valuable, gift is changed into present, and one gets is added. So the idea is the same. The 2 words are paraphrased, and that's why we can accept this phrase. As for the question whether and is highly debatable, is just the way to state the problem. It is also possible to use sentences like that. So the second one, friendship is believed to be the greatest gift in life. So we see that a different grammar structure is used here, complex subject, and it is okay to use, and I guess that is one of the best ways to paraphrase the given statements. If your student is good at using complex subject or passive voice, it is just a great thing to use in the very first paragraph. So we see that all other words are just the same as they are given in the topic, but a different grammar structure allows us to accept it as a paraphrased one. So the third one, friendship is the greatest present in life, is not accepted because only 1 word is paraphrased. Gift is changed into present. And many people think that friendship is the greatest present in life. Again, we start analyzing the statement from the beginning of, not of the sentence, but we need to find the beginning of that statement as a part of the sentence. And we see that here it is, friendship is the greatest present in life. And only 1 word is paraphrased here, unfortunately, and that's why we cannot accept this statement as paraphrased one. So that's what paraphrasing is about. The second paragraph is about expressing students' personal opinion and giving 2-3 reasons to support their personal opinion. Usually the opinion is stated in the very first sentence. And you remember that there are 2 opinions included into the introduction. Like some people think, but others do not agree, and etc. So one of those opinions will be the student's personal opinion, and another one will be the opposing opinion, which a student will need to write about a bit later. So in the second paragraph, the very first sentence, yeah, is about stating or expressing the personal opinion. It usually starts with, in my opinion. Yeah, it's better to avoid such words like on the one hand and on the other hand, as a student may end up writing a for and against type of the essay. And if a student writes some other type of the essay, the communicative task will not be achieved, and that means that the student will get 0 points for this kind of task, which is not good. Again, as for the very first paragraph, I forgot to mention that No rhetorical questions can be used now. So the student just states two opposing opinions and paraphrases the given statement. So no redundant information, please. So we see that apart from the personal opinion, which is expressed in this paragraph, a student gives three arguments to support his or her personal opinion, and all those sentences start with formal introductory words and linky words. First of all, furthermore, last but not least. It's a great thing to give the argument and then give some to give an argument and then to give some explanation or the example. Like, for example, we see here, first of all, young people do not have life experience to decide on their career path, hence they can be disappointed in the future, and blah 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 blah. So it's great when a student can actually prove with some consequences, justifications, or examples. So that's all about paragraph number 2. Again, personal opinion, and then 2 or 3 arguments to support their personal opinion. Paragraph number 3, a student should express an opposing opinion and give 1 or 2 arguments to support this opposing opinion. That means that even if a student uses like 3 arguments to support his or her personal opinion in paragraph number 2, it is absolutely okay to include only 1 argument to support an opposing opinion. That means that paragraph number 2 and paragraph number 3 will be different in size. It is absolutely okay. Here a student should give the explicit opposing opinion. That means that if a student just writes, nevertheless there are those who think differently, and that's it, this kind of expressing an opposing opinion will not be accepted. But we see here that the second sentence of the paragraph includes the information, like some people believe that if a person choose, we are not speaking about grammar now, but anyway, choose their profession early, they will be able to achieve blah blah blah. Only 1 argument is given here, and it is very important for us to focus on it now, because that's something we will need in paragraph number 4 as well. So the argument here is that people may have more time to enhance their professional skills. So that is the idea which a student needs to bear in his or her mind while dealing with paragraph number 4. And here a student should explain why he or she does not agree with the opposing opinion, and actually with those arguments which were given in paragraph number 3. So unfortunately here we cannot find any information related to having more time, and that is one of the most common mistakes that students make. So they give some additional argument to support their personal opinion, but it is often not connected with the argument given in paragraph number 3. So there should be a counter argument to the argument given in paragraph number 3. If there are 2 arguments in paragraph number 3, there should be 2 counter arguments in paragraph number 4. That is really important. And finally, paragraph number 5, where a student should make a conclusion restating their position. Again, a student should express their personal opinion. It's not some general statement, general idea on the fact that it's up to everyone to choose and things like that. So here an I statement should be clearly seen. Like here you see that only 1 sentence is used here, and it is okay if this if the sentence is a complicated one. It is absolutely okay to write only one sentence in this part. I'm inclined to believe that choosing a profession early has a detrimental effect on people's success. Sometimes students include that because part and give a kind of an overview of all the reasons that they were discussing in the second paragraph and in the fourth paragraph, but again, it's not obligatory here. We have covered the structure of the personal letter and an opinion essay, and of course the criteria include different aspects, but the most important one is reaching the communicative task, the very first criterion, because if a student doesn't manage to get at least 1 point for this part, for this criterion, unfortunately the student will get 0 points for the whole task. That is why that's really important to know the structure and follow the structure of the task. Now, how to teach writing in an exam class. So first of all, you need to make sure that you are aware of the requirements, because there are a lot of different books, a lot of different articles. Some of them are really outdated and contain irrelevant information. So the website that you need to have at hand, that is fp.ru. There you can find all the relevant information, all the details about the new things and the changes in the exam papers and etc. So you need to know you need to be able to use the checklist, and you can find it on fp.ru again, because that's how you will be aware of what exactly is checked, is assessed by the experts, which phrases are to be included, and actually which phrases are a must. Like here you see the exam paper, the personal letter, and the checklist. You see that the checklist is in Russian. That's the way the experts use it. And of course, according to that checklist, experts will be able to give some points. But again, you are not about or you shouldn't focus on the points, really. You should focus on what is included into every set of criteria, and that's what you need to use while assessing your students' papers. So that is something to be paid attention to. So that is the checklist for the essay writing. Again, it is in Russian, and you can make a pause and take a look at it and use it, maybe make a copy and use it with your students. When we that is the first thing to deal with. First of all, you need to know the structure, the exam task. After that, when you get a new student, when you accept a new student, and the student claims that he or she needs wants to sit an exam in English at school, you need to start with the needs analysis and have the diagnostic test, because you need to know what kind of problem the student is experiencing right now, what to focus on. If the student knows, again, the structure, if the student knows the strategies, if it is about the logical connection, if it is about grammar, if it is about vocabulary, spelling, punctuation, and etc. So you can take the again, the demo version of the exam paper, and have that exam with the student to see what problems the student has. So after the needs analysis and the results of the diagnostic test, you will be able to make a teaching plan based on the results. And what is to be included into that plan? Those competencies, those sub skills, those weak points which a student should practice or improve. So those are the competencies that should be included into the teaching plan. You need to set the order, set the priorities, in which order they should be taught. You need to choose the activities which will resemble the student's real life contexts. That means that if a student has major problems with essay writing, you are not to ask him or her to write personal letters again and again. So you will need to concentrate on the part of the essay which the student is not that good at writing, and for example paraphrasing, or for example giving the arguments to support the opposing opinion, or counter arguments. So you need to find and to make up the activities which will aim at practicing those sub skills, those details, those things the student has problems with. And of course you need to think of the assessment, and when it comes to the personal letter and an opinion essay as part of the exam, of course we are tempted to give some points, but remember that you are not certified experts, because certified experts have long experience, long training sessions on how to assess the papers, and it is really difficult to do. Trust me. So you can use different colors to help the students see where the problems are and what to focus on. Try to avoid giving points if you are not a certified expert, because again you may give some high points, yeah, and the student will be really disappointed when he or she gets a lower score at the exam. So avoid those things, please. So that's it now about the strategies. When a student deals with the personal letter writing, of course, the first thing with all the tasks, students need to be able to write the task properly and to know what exactly he or she needs to do. The student needs to find the pen friend's name. Make sure that a student understands who he or she is writing to. Needs to focus on the questions that the student needs to answer. Underlining helps a lot in that case, because sometimes there are questions like which contain two parts. That's that little part with why, which a lot of students do not see, unfortunately. So they can take a pencil and underline all those questions. And if it is the EGE exam, students need to pay attention to the questions, like what they need to ask about. Then they will write a letter and check that you have all the parts of the structure which are included into the expert's checklist. They need to be able to count the words correctly. They need to follow the informal style. So all those things are included into the strategies for a personal letter writing. As for the opinion essay writing, again, everything starts with reading the task carefully. Then the student needs to, well, devote approximately 5 minutes to choosing one of the topics. And it's better not to look at the other topic till the end of the exam, so not to get distracted. Then they write the essay according to the plan, and check that you have that they have two opposing opinions and the paraphrase statement in the first paragraph, that they have their personal opinion and 2 or 3 arguments to support it in the second paragraph, opposing opinion and one or two arguments to support the third paragraph. Reasons why they disagree with the opposing opinion, and to be more exact with those arguments given in the third paragraph. Their personal opinion restated in the final paragraph. The semi-formal style is to be used. No informal words, no contractions. It's better to avoid phrasal verbs. No rhetorical questions. And of course, a student needs to count the words correctly. So these are the strategies for the student to follow. So finally, the summary on teaching OGE and EGE writing. Of course, students should be aware of the requirements, and the teacher should be aware of the requirements as well, because we need to know what we are supposed to teach our students. It's really important to do the needs analysis, because it allows us to see all the weak points that the student has, and it helps us to make up a perfect plan for the student. So we need to teach the strategies again, and it's highly recommended to use checklists, because it will help us not to forget about the important parts, and not to concentrate on something irrelevant, which might be included in some of the course books or some articles on the internet. Not to get distracted. Okay, so that is all about the webinar on this topic. I will be really happy to see you at a workshop, a practical workshop. Please prepare a list of questions. Probably you will have some, because of course there are many more things to discuss related to writing in terms of OGE and EGE, and we'll be able to discuss all those questions during our workshop session. So do the pre-workshop test now to check yourselves and get prepared for the practical workshop. See you later. Bye bye. Stay safe.